Hi guys, this is a video review for Oritoys Acid Rain Speeder Mark II, which is the second vehicle released in the Oritoys Acid Rain series and is a follow-up to the Stronghold from last year, which was an awesome toy. So the Speeder also came with a 1/18 inch Sol Commander figure that allows for crossover play with Stronghold. You can see the foot pegs go onto the footholds on the outside of Stronghold, and you can also have the Commander drive Stronghold. You can see him in the cockpit here. The Speeder has its own play features with removable kind of dossier cases on the back, as well as a shovel and axe pick kind of thing, and then obviously he can drive the Speeder as well. Now the Commander figure has a ton of articulation, which was a happy surprise when I pulled this guy out of the box. It's got a nice big ball jointed head, as well as a ball jointed neck that can move around, and a huge amount of room there. He's got a ratcheted shoulder joint, standard kind of elbow joint there. The hands on one hand allow for kind of a serving T position, and the other hand allows for kind of a bend in or a kind of a bend out, like a bracing kind of action. And again, you do get a lot of movement out of these joints, which is great for expressiveness. The hands themselves are kind of a soft, pliable plastic, which is good because it allows you to do things like grip the suitcases on the back of the Speeder. The hip is on a ball joint there. The knees are double jointed, and they've got a kind of a ratchet as well. It can bend up like that, and then you can do kind of a double swivel to give you just a great deep bend in the knee there, which is super useful for doing posing on this guy. The ankle itself spins around, and the foot, it's on a peg that goes into the shoe there, and it will bend up on a slider as well as back on a slider, and then it rotates around to give you ankle tilt. The amount of articulation in the feet and the leg actually give you a huge amount of range in terms of what poses this guy can pull off and stand without aid. Just takes a little finagling sometimes to get him into a kind of a spot that you want, but he definitely will stand. You can pop the helmet off, and you've got kind of a gas mask underneath, and you can also take the flak jacket or vest off there, and once you actually get it off, which isn't hugely difficult because it is nice soft rubber that allows you to kind of get around his head and arm there, but once you do have it off, it actually shows that you have two more joints, waist swivel, as well as a huge nice kind of ab crunch and rotation. You can see you can get it almost around all the way there, and then you can also crunch it forward. Now, once again, in conjunction with the fact that he's got a huge ball joint for his neck and head, you can get some very natural looking or unnatural looking poses out of him. The reality is, though, at the end of the day, this is a very expressive figure by itself, and I cannot recommend him enough even without the Speeder. It's just a fun toy by itself. The Speeder is the main event, though. You can see it rolls in very well there. It's got some guns on the front, and you can see the shovel that's removable up there. The biggest surprise for me was the fact that the rear view mirrors here are kind of this soft rubber, although I can understand why they did, just because chance of these breaking off is probably fairly high. So, it's a great Doom buggy with some great paint apps. The driver fits in there nicely, and it rolls well. So, not much more you can ask from it. Now, to get the driver out, you do need to pop the top off, so you can raise that up, and you'll see a double hinge there, and that just bends back again, letting you have access to the driver who's buckled in very securely. And you can see the handles here, the control handles move up and down. One thing that's nice is they do move up really high, so that when this is in a mech form, he has almost like armrests in there. And it's really nice that you can transform the entire thing with him sitting in the cockpit. I think that's pretty awesome. To get the driver out, all you do is unclasp the seatbelts up at the top there and pull them out. And now you have a driverless mech. So I guess we'll move into the transformation on this guy. The transformation on the Speeder Mark II is actually fairly easy and economical. There's some clever stuff that's done in the legs and ankles to balance the mech when it's set upright, and locking the wheels in place with a lever, and the way it shifts the center of balance backwards using the chicken leg configuration is actually pretty good. As well, there's a good amount of character it can pull off even without the driver, although the commander does have a lot to do with the final look. I do prefer the speeder overall, I think, to Stronghold, even with a slightly more complex transformation. And the inclusion of the commander figure just underlines how much Stronghold could have benefited from the added element it brings to the package. The speeder in mech mode doesn't have a huge amount of articulation, but what it does have is used very well, and it's very expressive, so you can get some good poses out of it. It's also full of ratchets, so I'm going to go over the articulation with it and just kind of show some interesting stuff. Firstly, the arms go out like that. They can go back and forward like that. And if you look right here, there is a ratchet that can ratchet back on both sides as well, so that it gives that kind of more imposing look. There is also an elbow ratchet, which is super stiff, but holds in place very well. That's kind of it for the upper body. I mean, once again, the guy inside can do all his articulation, so you've got a nice amount of expressiveness. And I think that's where I like this better than Stronghold, just because it does have a little more in the way of expressiveness, just having the actual dude sitting in there. There is no waist joint, so there isn't anything kind of that way. Now, moving to the lower half, you have ratcheting hip joints. You've got a little bit of an inward turn there, just because of the transformation, not too much in the way of out, although you can get it to go out like that if you need it. It just doesn't really help too much. The kind of chicken leg knee that it has there can also be used. Down at the bottom here, it has ankle tilts, which can be super helpful for a lot of things. And once again, that's pretty much it for the lower articulation. I will say they did something. Oh, sorry, actually, there's also the actual back and forth on the ankle right there as well. But they this thing is actually super useful. The fact that to stop, because it's basically on roller skates, but you can drop this guy down, and then this wheel doesn't move effectively, making it kind of hold its position so that you don't have to worry about it kind of rolling away on you. So that's it for the bob mode articulation. Like I said, there's not a huge amount, but it does use it effectively. Stronghold was a great debut from Oritoys, and the Speeder Mark II is a fantastic follow-up. I'd really, really recommend this to anyone who likes fun, chunky machines with a lot of play value, especially 3 3/4 inch or Transformers collectors. I can't wait to see what else these guys have in store for this line. But thank you so much for watching, and have a good one.